Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. It's Friday, TGIF. We're doing this a little bit differently in that we've got Kevin actually running the OBS from his end. So it should be interesting if you want to post a comment if you see a discernible difference in the picture quality of today's video. You can post the comments if you want, but FYI, I'm going on vacation once I'm done this, so I won't see your comments for a week. But hey, I thought I was going on vacation on Wednesday, and I said, okay, fine, I'll wait till Friday. So today is our official sort of sending you off in the public. It looks like the market's relatively happy, lots of uppy. We've got pre-happening pumps happening in crypto. Altcoins are popping, so I think if anything, this is a good time that I can sneak away for a little R&R and not worry about the end of the world and having to reassure people that capitalism isn't dead. As you can see from our dashboard here, breadth indicators are starting to suggest stock market's a little bit toppy. And frankly speaking, I think we've been sort of talking with the public, and of course the stock market people hate this kind of talk, but I definitely think that Bitcoin is leading the stock market here. And as we sort of projected a few days ago, Bitcoin went through a consolidation period, rallied back up to the top of the range, and just recently broke out through the top of the range. So ironically enough, I expect stock market to choppy, and then ultimately break out higher following Bitcoin. So not really too concerned about like major failure yet. What I am seeing though, however, which is a bit concerning, is I'm starting to see the early tells of problems developing. Ideally, if this is a very strong, I'm a bull, look at me, we should see more and more volume, more and more buyers piling in, rah, 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 Bitcoin. And as I had pointed out, I think I had pointed out yesterday, I was a little disappointed in seeing the amount of volume coming in on this quote unquote breakout. And I was kind of like halfway through the day, I was kind of like, can we please get some buyers to actually step up and do some buying here? And as you can see, by the end of the day, the buyers just really never did show up. So that's a little bit concerning. And these are the kind of early tells of the end of a bull run, is when you start getting divergences in momentum indicators, whether they be volume or price or volatility. These sort of little tells start perking up. Now, if we do see a day, and ideally I'd like to see it over the next few days so that we have a nice continuation pattern here. If we do see a day where it's done more than 15.7 thousand here on Stamp, then I think we can be assured that, okay, the bull's still very much alive and active and happy and rip-roaring. But what I'm worried about here now, of course, is if we actually get the market moving higher and moving up. But if we get a day where we actually trade less than 5,000 coins on an up day, that's not good. That'll actually suggest that the buying pressure, the buying power is drying up. So, while I'm gone, enjoy this nice upbeat market, but be forewarned. And of course, we've talked lots and lots about this recently with the public, that, we were expecting the pre-halvening pump. That's basically happening on par. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that we're running out of time on this event. What I'd like to see over the next few days is, continue this blow off toppy type action. And then, like I said, over the next few days, what I wouldn't be surprised is there's going to have to be some sort of cleanup of this big run up. And then price kind of just sort of goes sideways and consolidates into the halvening. I've seen it happen repeatedly. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't happen this way this time too. So we are still in that pre-pump halvening pump. Question is, how high do we go? We spent a lot of time Fridays on the call. We have one site veteran, It was so beautiful. At the end of the call today, Colin says, Brian, you put a lot of time and effort into the site and the community. You deserve a break. We got your back. And that actually really touched me. And it just goes to show that, this site is far, far beyond just Brian now. And that's good. That's what has to happen here. And we are a community of individuals all sort of working together. So Colin, in his usual Friday report, suggested that, yep, we are now starting to see, you can see the exploration getting up into Colin's buddies. And I don't know whether we have accepted into this range, but my hunch is our trading range is now bounded by this high here, which is 81.90, we'll call it 8,200. And the bottom here is 75.90, we'll call it 7,600. What a surprise, we're sitting right now at about 7,500, eh? So we're just underneath. And when we did initially smack into that range, some of these people went, oh, thank God, get me the hell out of there. Let's see how this goes. And, long and short of it here, higher highs and higher lows. And it's a bull market, so just enjoy the rally. No signs of fails just yet. But as I'd sort of said, we are now, and this is what you should expect as we get closer and closer to the end of a bull run, we are now starting to see the early tells of exhaustion in things like volume. So it makes sense. With regard to your offering here today, we basically covered the corn conversation here for you. US dollar index, fear on, fear off. The U.S. government just went and approved another big $500 billion. Where they're coming up with this money, I haven't got a fucking clue. A bailout plan for small businesses in the United States, and also a really good lesson. I think I've conveyed this message to you before. When the shit hits the fan, the United States of America only gives a shit about the United States of America. So if you're in Canada or Australia or Slovenia or Uganda or Azerbaijan or anywhere else in the world, if you need a bailout, the United States doesn't care about you. And this is one of the reasons why I suggest that sort of, in crisis situations, fear cycle apex, the US dollar index, of course, because that's at the end of the day, the only real central bank that can actually guarantee anything here. And of course, that guarantee is shaky unto itself. It sees money flowing into it. And believe it or not, like into that November pivot, I actually expect this US dollar index to be much, much higher. Having said that, just over the short term, we've just basically talked about how we have a coil that's developing. It's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. We had this little AB equals CD that's suggesting maybe we double bottom here. You can see the market sort of just slowly inching its way higher here. Nothing really definitive to do. I might be curious as to what happens when we hit this AB equals CD and Mountain Man, maybe spike up into the gap, and then what happens on the other side of that. So, there's certainly no trade here for me, and I think we're still pointing up here just over the very short term. From what I understand, one of the big drivers in currency land today, the Euro Summit just sort of got underway. I get the impression that people were a little bit sort of disappointed from what they've been hearing out of them. But what I did notice was Euro had a very sharp snapback rally. It was almost kind of like a sell the rumor, buy the news event. Maybe that can explain a little bit about US dollar strength here recently. Sort of we're going to sneak our way into US dollars out of euros and all that kind of stuff ahead of this big EU summit. Now that it's happened, there haven't been any bombshells dropped or anything. So now we're seeing a lot of position squaring. Risk on, risk off. I sort of talked to you about my expectations for the stock market, considering Bitcoin moved higher here. I don't expect the stock market to crap out here, and we still have a few upside technical objectives. And we're heading into early May here. So usually the adage goes sell in May and walk away. So some sort of top through the month of May would actually be totally par for the course. Oil, of course, my thoughts on oil. There have been some cute little oil stock trades that have bottomed and worked their way higher. I'm not really interested in investing in oil anymore. And I got to tell you, I can't say it enough. I'm feeling pretty damn proud of myself. When we failed here, I said, that's it. Don't want to touch oil. And I avoided just a massive disaster. So, I mean, I suppose I got to be thankful for that. 38.2s, inside bar reversals. I think this story writes itself. We're probably going to make some sort of head and shoulders here. But again, I mean, what the hell now? $17. At some point, I suppose the price gets so cheap, it's so compelling, but I don't really want to invest in oil. I'd much rather do things like buy like blockchain stocks with my money. But anyway, risk off. Interesting. We talked through the daily brief. Japanese yen is trying desperately to bottom and turn back up. The bonds, of course, this has been a funny conversation with the public about how they're just sort of doing their thing. But gold actually started to show some signs of weakness here today. And I was exceedingly pleased that Julian seems to be very spot on his game. We were rallying up into reload zone fail levels. We kind of talked a little bit about this. What would these pro guys do up against these highs? And I thought it was interesting to see, gee whiz, what are we supposed to think if we ever see the market smiling at us? So big fat smile. And you can see prices slowly melting its way back down here. The problem with getting too aggressive on thinking about shorting gold and stuff like that is, the chaos in the market right now. I'm not overly excited about taking this trade, but I have warned people. I mean, I don't like buying gold up here at $1,700, $1,800 an ounce anyway, considering I think cost of production is around $1,000, somewhere around there. But this is the same sort of thing. Do you buy Bitcoin at like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000? It could pop to 10, 11, 12,000 here, but we know cost of production after halvings events going to be like 4, 5, 6,000. So, caveat emptor. The traders they are well served respecting this M, and maybe cool your jets. And if you are a bull and you're trading this, keep in mind this is an hourly chart. Maybe let's wait for profiles to get filled in. Let's wait for signs of W's. I don't know whether a divergence happened on this event. I remember we talked about these na levels and great liquidity hunt there. Yeah, it's a trader's life. And considering it is Friday, do you really want to strap on a new position here? I think that's a bit suspect unto itself. But, we should just respect the fact the market is smiling at us, people, so be forewarned. Individual stocks, I do like to watch this Russell 2000 as sort of a proxy on the health of the junior market. And, we got to hand it to the junior market. It's just slowly climbing up here. We had said if we double bottom here through this 0.053 area, I mean, this is just a ratio of two indexes. But if we do W out here, we kind of talked about how this was really fun to watch. Were they going to break people's hearts and take this to new lows, and turned it around, put in a fractal? Now we're just chomping our way higher here. Now do we double bottom? And remember, Wall Street, they want to get paid. Remember, the adage is sell in May and walk away. I think the severity of the dump here through February, March was caught, a lot of professionals probably a little off guard there. But, seeing a nice little counter trend rally into that May, early June, anywhere around May time period, to me makes sense. Is that a buying window that if and when we do rally into here, considering seasonality? I don't think so. I think, if anything, what I would prefer to see is up, then swoon into our June period. And then if we can hold these lows in here, that will be our tell. That will set up that sort of mid to late summer rally, which will probably take us up into the fall. Summertime, I'm already hearing people saying we're going to open up the economy again and get things going. So maybe some backfilling here over the next month or so to set up a nice little sort of summer pivot that can take us up into August, September, October to set up the November pivot. So anyway, long and short of it here, little stocks are actually acting pretty okay in here. It's not, I mean, certainly not bullish, but they're not falling off the face of, the earth anymore. Phew. And is a good example of a little stock. And, these guys, they have a bunch of incentive to get their stock back above a buck here, which is sort of this area. Big juicy gaps to be filled in, the old breakdown levels. I mean, you can almost see the cliche here. Hell, there's a gap all the way up top here at 120. You hopefully can also see the WE type action in here. So on this railroad tracks level is where I went and picked up some of this stock, and actually I'm back in the money again. So long and short of it here is, if this does have some legs to give us that push here, I could very easily see a name like this, Mara. Very typical. We ran through a few blockchain stocks that are all putting in these kind of W patterns. And actually, full disclosure, I actually have been buying some stock in these kind of names recently. And as I said before, I would prefer to put money into something like Amara and take my shot against this W bottom versus putting money into like an oil idea. Me personally, this is where I'd rather have my money working. So anyway, encouraging to see that, W's are starting to come back into the crypto space. Why? Well, as we had explained earlier, I think Bitcoin is a leading indicator now, which is going to piss Warren Buffett off to all end. And we did double bottom there the other day. We did break out through these highs there the other day, and it looks like we are accepting. It was, old stock market people will say you want to see 2-bar confirmation. So, just on a clothesline basis, the highest close here was 73.53, 73.67. So really, we'd like to see 2 consecutive bars above that 73.67. Yesterday, we closed 74.84. And here we are right now at 75.15. I mean, we might crap out by the end of the day and dip back, but I'm seeing acceptance. And also, too, when we look at the triumvirate, where the hell's the triumvirate? Around here somewhere. Here we are. Bitcoin pointing up, looking good. Ethereum pointing up, broke to new highs yesterday, looking okay. Hey, Litecoin joined the gang. We got a new W working on Litecoin. Great to see. And actually, really good looking OBVW and good looking price oscillator Ws. This would be like our Da Vinci signal here. Devo. I don't know whether he still watches our videos or not. So, we are getting the anecdotes. Like we said, volume here is very suspicious. I'd love to see Litecoin go and break out this 77,000 there. That would be a good affirmation that, hey, the buyers are still active. You can see that lower buying bar there on Bitcoin yesterday, which kind of concerns me a bit. Ethereum buying pressure, very, very low. I would like to see the bulls step up and break these volume bars. Show me big, green, chunky bars. As it stands right now, like I said, still pointing up, happening events still ahead of us. You can see 200 SMAs are still higher on both Litecoin and Bitcoin. So I don't see any reason for the market to crap out today. And as I said, usually Bitcoin price is weak on my birthday. And considering having events just so happened to be around my birthday's on the 11th. I think the happening is either the 12th or somewhere right around one of these days. So I actually do like the idea of Bitcoin topping out somewhere over the next week. Brian can go on vacation, not worry about the market shitting its pants. I'll come back, and my hunch is I'm probably going to come back to a top happening in the corn. So, what the hell? If anything, what I'm most worried about when I do decide to take breaks is, can my community handle if price starts melting down? Do they need a big shot of PMA, all that kind of stuff? And of course, reiteration, do we chase? No, of course not, blah, blah, blah. So with all that said, still feeling uppy on the corn. And like I said, Ethereum broke to new highs. Litecoin just W'd. So, if anything, we always say that the stocks lead the commodities, seeing lots of good price action in these crypto stock names. So I'm feeling like, the market is feeling uppy still. When we look at individual, the Schult coin part of the market, we had pointed this out to you yesterday, and I think it's perfectly valid. Looks like nice little double bottom came in here. Bought continuation. This has two lows. It's really going to be a commentary on your maturation as a trader. I suppose you could argue this almost looks like an inverted head and shoulder, right? Left shoulder, neckline. I don't know. Would that be neckline, head, neckline, right shoulder? Man, that's a bit subjective. Anyway, point of the matter here, you see the bot 25 level. We have broken out. Do we get 2-bar confirmation? It kind of looks like it. So my hunch is probably going to rally right up into this 802 area. So it'll be interesting to see when I come back from a week from now what has happened here. But this is looking very uppy right now. And as an example of sort of uppy in the space, Colin, of course, Fridays sort of set us up for weekend trading. He has a whole bunch of names that he's pondering and reviewing on the daily briefs, which I think is fantastic value for our site members. Actually, what was really great with Colin's presentation today is, most of the time, I used to have this one guy, and I've been talking for about 20 minutes here, so I can rant for a couple minutes here. I used to have this one educator guy when I used to work at a prop firm, and he used to always come in and talk to us, and he would say, you are all so smart. You are like the cream of the crop of our society, right? Kissing ass, whatever. You're very diligent. You have incredibly high IQs. You demonstrate that you are serious about this. And I love our future. The only problem is you all suck. It's like, thanks. So set you up, cut you down. His name was Dr. Barry Gordon. It was always fun when he came on the calls because you knew it was coming. It was like the setup and then cut you down. And he would just simply say, look, you probably have pretty good setups. You have good notions of what's going to happen, but you just can't control your behavior. You keep making mistakes. Stop making mistakes. And, if anybody was like, oh, I don't make mistakes, he'd be like, oh, yeah, let's see your trading. And he would go, look, there. Why are you making so many mistakes? You suck. Anyway, where am I going with all this? Every single trader goes through this. And if you don't have it, I don't know whether I can throw it. It might be a good idea to throw this on here. But we as professional traders, if that's what we are aspiring to be, we have to actually understand that this is the life that you live as a professional trader, this behavioral learning and life trading cycle. You don't really have any choice. And this all talks about sort of the unsexy, unglamorous part of actually being a professional trader. And the point here is that there's actually two very unique ways to fail at this game. You can either fail because your sort of reasons for justifying acting in the market sucked, and our setups, we call them, and they're just not producing the results that you need to actually make a profit at this. And if that's the problem, then actually that's the easy fix. You can always go find a new setup to trade. But usually where most people fail at trading is they just simply can't control themselves. It's sad. It's the truth. It's all comes down to behavior. And one thing that I really like about TRI is there's no bullshit amongst all of us. We all admit that, hey, we make mistakes. Don't build a plan where you are expecting perfection, 100% right. Oh, I'm so smart. I guarantee you're not going to find it. So the question ultimately becomes, how are you going to handle yourself when the market proves that you're wrong? And that, unfortunately, all comes down to behavior. And Colin today, as a site veteran and what I would consider as a site mentor for people, he actually walked through one tool that we have on the site called our Demon Finder, tracking all of his mistakes and showing the community, hey, look at I exited the trade again early. Another demon finder. Clearly, you can see the pattern of behavior. There are problems here that I need to address, and that is the sign of a professional. So I'll give you this document link. I'm not quite sure how Kevin actually produces these. Let's see whether we have that page. And the only reason why I'm blabbing here is because I'm going on vacation here soon. So can I put a comment on this? Comments are not supported. Oh well. Kevin, I'll just PM you this link to this document, and when you publish this, do you think you could throw that in the comments? I'd appreciate it, dude. So point of the matter here, that's a nice freebie for you guys. I'm going on vacation, so what the hell? Feel free to take advantage of it. This is sort of required reading for all of our level 1 students. And basically the path that you are setting yourself on is you have to understand you live on this cycle. Get used to it. Point that I was trying to make out all of that was I was really impressed with Colin's presentation today, because he basically walked through, look at this is where I'm doing well, this is where I'm screwing up, this is where I need to really focus my attention. And these tools that we have at TRI, I think they're absolutely invaluable to help people get over those problems. All right. I guess that was a fun little rant. Not quite sure where I was going with all that. But Colin had pointed out today, I think it's ICX. There's another little stock that's in the blockchain space that I went and picked up today. Maybe we'll talk about him another day. Was it ICX? Was that it? I think it's this ICX. Colin, you're here, right? Or Colin. No. Yeah, I need a vacation. Kevin, wasn't it ICX that he was talking about today? What was the one that popped for him? Oh, that's right. AION, right? Colin was telling the community about how this one popped and how the AON and the ICX, I believe, are connected, and also this one WAN is connected. And I mean, look at that W. I mean, W's are W's are W's. Really, I probably should just leave the video at that. I mean, you can see what's going on here. I'm not here telling you what to do. What, if anything, what all I want to do is I want to just point out, hey, did you see what's going on here? You know, are you interested in acting like an institutional investor and coming in at the bottom end of trading ranges, and then looking to take profits when the public comes in? Here we are at 2,000, so there's about a 50% profit window there just on that move. Can we justify taking the risk here at 2,000, risking to 1,800, looking for 2,900? That sounds to me to be better than a 2-to-1. And then, of course, if this thing ever gets going, does it have any room to move up here? My hunch is that wick there is going to be eaten sometime over time. So, look at that. 50% of the range is the wick. So, I mean, this is a classic example of, and I won't read it for you. I'm going to leave the video typing because there's no wrong way to read this statement. The problem is you got to do it correctly. I'm not saying it is here. I'm not saying it isn't here. It's really just a question of your perspective. When I look at something like that, I read opportunity is now here. It's up to you, though. PMA for the win. Have a great week while I'm gone. All the best, everybody. Only left for Brian to say at this point is bye for now.